Everyone thought it was a gold-digging marriage until the locked room in her mansion was opened. Dear viewers, before we begin this story, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Your support means everything to us and helps bring you more inspiring tales of human resilience and unexpected connections. Marcus Thompson stood outside the courthouse in downtown Los Angeles, adjusting his tie with trembling hands. At 25, he carried the weight of responsibilities that would challenge men twice his age. His mother's medical bills, his sister's college tuition, and mounting debt from his father's failed construction business had pushed his family to the edge of financial ruin. The woman standing beside him was Elizabeth Sterling, an 85-year-old business magnate whose empire spanned technology, real estate, and philanthropy. Her silver hair was elegantly styled, and despite her age, she carried herself with the poise of someone accustomed to boardrooms and billion-dollar decisions. "Are you certain about this arrangement, Mr. Thompson?" she asked, her voice carrying decades of wisdom and authority. Marcus nodded, though uncertainty flickered in his eyes. "Yes, ma'am. My family needs this opportunity." The marriage proposal had come through Elizabeth's charitable foundation. She had learned of Marcus's situation through his application for emergency family assistance. Instead of simply providing aid, she had offered something unprecedented, a legal marriage that would provide his family with comprehensive support while giving her companionship in her final years. "This is not a romantic union," she had explained during their first meeting. "It's a practical arrangement between two people facing different challenges. You need financial stability. I need someone trustworthy to help manage my personal affairs and provide companionship." The ceremony was brief and professional. Afterward, they drove to Elizabeth's estate in Beverly Hills, a magnificent property with manicured gardens, a library that rivaled small universities, and staff quarters that housed a team of assistants, groundskeepers, and household managers. Marcus was given his own wing of the house, complete with a sitting room, bedroom, and private study. The arrangement was respectful and clear. They would share meals, attend social functions together when appropriate, and maintain a cordial relationship based on mutual respect. For weeks, their interaction followed a careful routine. Elizabeth spent her days managing her business empire, taking calls from New York, London, and Tokyo. Marcus used the time to complete his college degree online, something Elizabeth had insisted upon and funded, while also learning about financial management and business operations. During their evening meals, served in an elegant dining room overlooking the city, they maintained polite conversation about current events, books, and Marcus's studies. Elizabeth shared stories of building her business from nothing, starting with a small accounting firm in the 1960s and growing it into a diversified corporation. She spoke of the challenges she had faced as a woman in business during less progressive times. Marcus found himself genuinely interested in her experiences. She had navigated decades of social change, broken barriers, and created opportunities not just for herself, but for countless employees across her companies. However, Marcus couldn't help but notice certain mysteries about the mansion. There was a locked study on the second floor that no staff member was permitted to enter. Elizabeth would disappear there for hours, and sometimes Marcus could hear the faint sound of classical music or quiet phone conversation. One evening, about 2 months into their arrangement, Elizabeth seemed different during dinner. She was quieter than usual, occasionally pausing mid-sentence, as if weighing her words carefully. "Marcus," she finally said, "I want to show you something that will help you understand why I chose this arrangement." She led him to the previously locked study. The room was filled with photographs, documents, and memorabilia spanning decades. On the walls were pictures of Elizabeth with world leaders, business moguls, and family members Marcus had never heard her mention. I was married once before, she said quietly, picking up a photograph of herself as a young woman standing beside a man in military uniform. David was killed in Vietnam in 1968. We had been married only 18 months. Marcus studied the photograph, seeing a version of Elizabeth he had never imagined, young, radiant, full of hope for the future. I threw myself into building the business after that, she continued. It became my entire life. I told myself I didn't need personal relationships, that success was enough. For 55 years, I maintained that illusion. She moved to another section of the room, where newer photographs showed her at various charity events and business functions, always alone among crowds of people. Last year, my doctors informed me that I likely have 2 to 3 years remaining. Excellent medical care, but ultimately time is finite. She turned to face him directly. I realized I had spent decades building an empire, but had no one to share it with. No one who would remember me as more than just a successful businesswoman. Marcus felt a profound shift in understanding. This arrangement, it wasn't about helping my family, was it? It was about both, Elizabeth replied. Yes, I wanted to help a deserving family, but I also wanted to experience what it might feel like to have someone care about my well-being, for reasons beyond my wealth, someone who might remember me fondly. Over the following months, their relationship evolved. Marcus began joining Elizabeth in her study during evenings, helping her organize her memoirs and learning about her philanthropic work. She began teaching him about business strategy and introducing him to key executives in her companies. What surprised them both was the genuine affection that developed, not romantic love, but a deep respect and companionship that neither had expected. Marcus found in Elizabeth a mentor and grandmother figure he had never had. Elizabeth found in Marcus the family connection she had convinced herself she didn't need. When Elizabeth's health began declining more rapidly than expected, Marcus was by her side for medical appointments and treatment. He learned to manage her complex medication schedule and coordinate with her doctors. You know, she said one afternoon as they sat in the garden, I've been thinking about legacy differently now. She had been revising her will, not to change Marcus's inheritance that had been legally established from the beginning, but to create a family foundation that would continue her charitable work long after she was gone. I want you to run it, she said, not because you're my legal husband, but because you understand what it means to struggle and you have the character to use resources wisely. Marcus was overwhelmed. Elizabeth, I don't know if I'm qualified for that level of responsibility. That's exactly why you are qualified, she smiled. People who are certain they deserve power are usually the ones who shouldn't have it. Elizabeth passed away peacefully on a spring morning, with Marcus holding her hand. Her funeral was attended by hundreds of business leaders, politicians, and employees whose lives she had impacted. Marcus spoke about the woman he had come to know, not the business legend, but the person who had found a way to create family in the most unexpected circumstances. The will reading revealed the extent of Elizabeth's plan. Marcus inherited enough to ensure his family's security and to fund the foundation's work for generations. But more than that, she had left detailed letters explaining her vision for helping other families facing similar hardships. 6 months later, Marcus established the Sterling Thompson Foundation, named to honor both his late wife's legacy and his own family's journey. The foundation focused on providing comprehensive support to families facing medical or educational financial crises, not just money, but guidance, mentorship, and pathways to long-term stability. At the foundation's first major fundraising event, held in the ballroom where Elizabeth had once entertained heads of state, Marcus spoke to the assembled donors. "A year ago, I thought success meant simply surviving, keeping my family afloat from one crisis to the next. Elizabeth Sterling taught me that real success means creating bridges for others to cross the same difficult waters." This foundation exists because one remarkable woman understood that legacy isn't about what you accomplish, it's about what you make possible for others. Today, the foundation has helped over 500 families transition from crisis to stability. Marcus completed his MBA and now splits his time between foundation work and serving on the boards of several companies. Elizabeth had mentored him to join. He never remarried, but he formed deep friendships within the business and charitable communities. Elizabeth's mansion became the foundation's headquarters, with the former locked study now serving as a conference room where families meet with counselors to plan their paths forward. On quiet evenings, Marcus still sits in the garden where he and Elizabeth used to talk. He keeps a photograph of her on his desk, not the formal business portrait that appeared in newspapers, but a candid shot from one of their evening conversations, where she's laughing at something he had said. The locked room that had once held mysteries now holds hope for other families facing impossible circumstances. And Marcus learned that sometimes the most meaningful relationships are built not on romance or passion, but on mutual respect, shared purpose, and the courage to be vulnerable with another human being. From this story, we learn that genuine connection can emerge from the most unexpected circumstance. Elizabeth and Marcus found in each other what they both needed. She found someone who would see her humanity beyond her wealth, and he found a mentor who believed in his potential beyond his circumstance. Their arrangement began as a practical solution to separate problems, but it became a testament to how two people can create family purpose and legacy together, regardless of age difference or social expectation. Sometimes the most profound relationships are those where we choose to care for each other not because we have to, but because we decide that someone's well-being matters to us. Elizabeth and Marcus chose to build something meaningful from an unconventional beginning, and in doing so, they created a legacy that continues to change lives. If this story moved you and reminded you that meaningful connections can emerge in unexpected ways, please like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories about the power of human compassion and the unexpected ways we can create family and purpose in our lives. Remember, it's never too late to build meaningful relationships, and it's never too early to consider how your life might become a bridge for others to cross toward their own success and happiness.